Hey, it's Drybear. And Lost Ark, the MMO, is literally in flames right now as they try to resolve a major issue that sparked up over the weekend. Now, I'm going to cover this for people that don't play Lost Ark or aren't familiar with the game. The general idea is that it is an MMO fixed from a top-down isometric camera perspective, and it is a Eastern-style, South Korean-made game that is pay to progress or pay to win. And they've been trying to get people into the game to try and get them caught up to where a lot of the hardcore players are so that they can enjoy the new content, progress up to the new raids, and do that sort of thing. So they recently launched a brand new server, the Ignite server, which has accelerated progression in a way that we've never really seen in Lost Ark at all, in hopes that it can help people raise up a new character so they can use it in the new content, or if there's someone who's a returning player or even a new player, they would get the chance to get a high-level character that they could then use as their main, or a character they could use for all the new content that's coming out with the release of their brand new Tier 4, new raids, new armor sets, new abilities, new everything. And when I say this is unprecedented, it actually is. It started on October 9th and goes until the end of November, and this one will get you super high eye level. So if you didn't know, Lost Ark is a game that is eye level based. You're going to be progressing and honing and creating characters and leveling up their gear. And you can either pay real life money to slowly progress, or you can just do it for free every single day by playing the game, unlocking things, doing raids, collecting materials, and honing your gear, upgrading your gear to get higher and higher. And with this Ignite server, you would be able to create a roster of characters. You can test all the characters that you want. They'll be instantly boosted to the max possible with their Power Pass system. You can test them out, do content, get a whole bunch of free goodies, and then when you're done, you can take one of these characters and you can transfer them to a server of your choice and keep it forever. Now, along with the server came a whole bunch of rewards. You see this little flame icon next to the item. This means that this is an Ignite item or Ignite server exclusive item, and you just rained rewards down on you as a character, trying to keep you up with that process. And you could very quickly, using all these free chests that they give you, full of very important materials, you can basically get like a year's worth of hardcore progression done in a matter of days or even a week, even if you're a new player, and get caught up to where you are right now. So the fact that they're just raining all these materials on your character, they thought they were safe because they were isolating you to a specific server that is meant for progression only, that is separate from the other servers. They even went through the trouble of marking all of the items to be only on the Ignite server, that when you transfer off, these items will be lost and everything is contained. However, there was a loophole available, an exploit in the game that was there since the beginning on October 9th. And as we are now at October 22nd, there was an exploit that allowed you to get items and bonus materials from the Ignite server over to the real server where your real characters sit. And this was actually an infinite exploit. You could do it over and over and over and over again. So there were people that were discovering this exploit and just quietly doing it all day, every day for the last 2 weeks, taking up tons and tons of these free resources and stacking them up to the point where they had amassed nearly 100,000 or multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of progression materials, saving themselves years of progression and stacking their account to the maximum possible for free in a short period of time. And it actually wasn't the only dupe either. There was not only a way for people to duplicate the rewards and give them to real characters, essentially a loophole or a leak from the isolated progression server to the real servers, but there was also an issue where people could sell the items from the Ignite server to people on the real server and get double the gold, because you're not supposed to be able to sell anything from that server. And when the server tried to process the sale to someone in a real server, it would give you the result twice because it didn't have a seller that it could give it to. So it was giving you the seller's gold and the buyer's gold simultaneously, which means you were doubling your gold and getting the box and all the rewards at the same time. So this was noticed. You can see, like, shortly after the Ignite server went went live, someone had noticed that, hey, I got mats from the Ignite Server Express event on my main account, on the main servers. I'm pretty sure this is some kind of bug and don't want any kind of trouble. This was the first person that we know of that actually reported this in the Discord saying, hey, this seems wrong. We shouldn't be able to do this. It's happening. I don't know what to tell you, but just be aware of it. And this went on for about another 10 days or so where people were duplicating and duplicating. And these exploiters went rampant for a while. People were just duplicating this. And you can imagine a game that's pay to win, pay to progress, having some way to, for free, get a large amount of progress for your account is very enticing for a lot of people, especially if they feel that they're unjustly left behind by people that are paying money to progress in the game. But people were actually getting inordinate amounts. If you don't play Lost Ark, the numbers you see on the screen here with the honor shards, the silver, the gold, the quality taps, the eye level that you can reach with this is ridiculous. I mean, again, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of progression, years of progression, of dedicated daily progression on an account to get even near this. And in some cases, you may never be able to, because some of these systems are RNG, like the quality taps in the bottom left. So people were just getting crazy far ahead, super caught up because of this system, and it was left unchecked for weeks, which set the community on fire when they realized what was happening. You can imagine if you're someone who, whether you've been paying to progress or you're someone who's been playing completely free to play and progressing dutifully and diligently every single day for years on end to get to where you are in the game, to progress up to the current content and be ready, to find out that people were able to do what you did in years in a matter of hours for free with no ramifications, pissed a lot of people off, and the whole community was outraged with posts like, I'm gonna quit this game if there won't be heavy punishments. I have been here since the beginning. I have bought all the content, all the founders pack, all the packs you put up in the store, and I will refund everything and quit if they're not punished. Stop being lenient with your terms of service and actually enforce it for the people that are abusing it. More threats about people quitting the game or leaving for good if there aren't appropriate actions taken to the exploiters that are cheating the system. And this sentiment ringed out throughout the community of people just being completely upset over what's happening and the fact that it went unnoticed and unhandled for weeks on end. Though it did spawn some hilarious memes and a lot of discussions around the topic and what was going on, and waiting for a response from Amazon Game Studios. So Amazon Game Studios finally stepped in and said, oh crap, this is a big problem. And they first started by disabling any reward chests that come from the Ignite server. So anyone who's progressing on the Ignite server, any chests that you had that had the rewards in it suddenly stopped working. I'm still getting people asking me like, why can't I open my chest? Did I miss the event? Is the event still going on? Which, by the way, is still going on now. It has been in lockdown for 2 days now. You try to open these reward chests, it'll just tell you that you cannot use it. Anything that comes from this server is locked down. You can't even progress really on the Ignite server as it stands right now, as that we wait for a fix. Which wasn't the end of it, by the way, because the chests weren't the only issue. We mentioned earlier that you could also sell the Ignite items on the auction house and get double the gold back from on other servers. And you could do this by accessing strongholds of the characters that were on the Ignite servers. So not only were the rewards on the Ignite servers shut down and have been shut down for about 2 days now and will be shut down until tomorrow, there's also the strongholds, which if you don't play Lost Ark, it's your player housing. It's where you go to like check in on your player housing and your account progress and everything related to that. And it is actually a very important hub for accessing a lot of activities and mechanics and systems as part of your account and your roster to keep everything moving. They locked everyone out of their stronghold at the same time too. So the rewards on the Ignite server are blocked. The stronghold is blocked, which created a massive problem because they just did it instantly without telling anyone to try and stop the leak from ruining and crashing the auction house as people were selling items to get gold. So any character that was currently logged out in your personal player housing, your stronghold, was now stuck in the stronghold, and if you haven't contacted support since, it is still stuck there now. Which means that you have not been able to do dailies on that character, you haven't been able to log into that character or do any actions before reset because you can't load into the stronghold, it's stuck there, which has its own issues in that you can't play whatever character's characters are there. Some people have a habit of logging out in their own player housing when they log out of the game, which means that all of their characters are stuck in the stronghold and they can't play. On top of that, there's other things like there's items that are expiring, like limited time event items that have an expiration in game because you got them a certain period. They were expiring this week and you were expecting to be able to play to actually use those items, and now you can't, and they're going to expire without you being able to do anything. Amazon saying just send in a ticket, and some people are saying that they got out of the stronghold. They moved their character out of the stronghold through support right away. Some people say that they had to wait 4 or 5 hours, and some people say they put in a ticket and never got their character moved out of their stronghold, to the point where Aegis had to remind people that, hey, we don't really know what else to do. You're stuck in the stronghold. I guess they didn't have the systems in place or the option available to forcibly move every character out of stronghold back to the real world, out of player housing, so that they could be available for that before they locked down strongholds. They were just so concerned, I guess, about the market crashing because of the duplicating of items and gold, and also the free items being sold in the auction house, that they didn't want to ruin the economy, that they end up just shutting everything down, and everything remains in lockdown now until tomorrow for the weekly reset. So about 3 days total. The characters that are locked in player housing are going to stay there. You can't get access to them, and people that were planning to progress on the progression server to get back into the game are not going to be able to until tomorrow. Which we saw a massive increase in players for the launch of the Ignite server as players returned to the game to be able to play and try new things and get progression. However, as of the locking of the stronghold, we've seen a notable decrease in players as people are unable to play. They can't progress on the Ignite server. They can't even access their main characters that are stuck in a stronghold on their real server. And so we're actually seeing people just logging off for the week to see what happens when this actually gets resolved. Which leads us to the update that they finally did once they investigated everything, figured out what was going on, stopped the leak, patched up the holes, and the boat wasn't sinking anymore. They put up a response to the situation. So they said that a bug was identified with Ignite reward chests where some players were able to repeatedly exploit. And this is definitely an understatement, as people were getting a ton of progress from this. They've been investigating and reviewing everything as far as the play fair mode of their code of conduct and their terms of service, and reserve the right to determine what constitutes unfair play. And remember all of the posts that we just talked about players saying that if appropriate action isn't taken, then they're just going to quit the game, because this is just kind of a slap in the face for all the progress they've been making and working hard playing the game fair by its rules rather than cheating to get ahead. The general policy is that around 2,300 players receive reward chests from the Ignite Stronghold reward issue. The idea was that you could go from a real character onto the player housing of a character on the progression server and get free items, and you could do that infinitely. If they found that you had received items from that process, they know exactly who did that and who got it. So 2,300 players did this, and 1,200 didn't open any rewards, which means that they're trying to minimize how many people got affected by this or how many people did it. Obviously, this affected the whole community because people can't play right now, or they're just upset about what's going on. But they're saying that 1,100 people basically just maliciously duplicated things to try and get ahead in the game. For the remaining 1,000 players who open the reward chest, the severity of the penalty will directly correspond to the level of exploitation. And this is not something that we see all too often, that there's like tiers. Basically, you're like a baby exploiter, a adolescent exploiter, a mega exploiter, or a sewer rat extreme exploiter, and your punishment will vary based on how much you exploited. So this is the result of that whole process. Players that opened 3 to 7 chests, which means if you got one and didn't open it, you're fine. If you got 1 or 2 and you opened them, you're fine. If you got 3 and opened them or more, then you are not fine. If you got 3 to 7 chests through this duplicate and you opened them, you will receive a 2-week suspension from the game. You won't be able to log in, you won't be able to do anything. So that is the first level, the first tier of exploitation. Players that opened 8 to 14 chests, which means you realized there was a bug, you knew it was an exploit, and you kept going, you'll receive a 1-month suspension. Players that opened 15 plus chests, which means that they logged out and repeated this bug exploit 15 times or more. They will receive a notice that they have received a 30-day suspension and are pending further review. Some people have already got this review done and they have like a 3-month ban. We're going to see if people did this like thousands of times, it's very possible they will get a permaban from the game, just being completely kicked out. And this group will have various levels of action taken up to permanent bans from the game, depending on how much they exploited the issue. And then down here, they mentioned that to stop exploitation of the main issue, they disabled the chests from opening, and they disabled being able to access your own player housing in the game as well. And this will stay there. This will stay in effect until the maintenance tomorrow, the weekly maintenance, which happens every Wednesday tomorrow. So basically, from the weekend to Wednesday, if you're planning to do your raids and your character's stuck there and you don't want to put in a support ticket, you're basically SOL. You're gonna have to wait until that. So a massive problem with this process. It is a huge opportunity. I think the Ignite servers are really cool and a great thing for the game, but there was definitely a lot of mismanagement and fumbling going on with this, and a lot of things that kind of brought things to the surface for people that have been playing the game for a long time. But let me know what you think about this situation for Lost Ark. Did you come back for the Ignite servers like I did? I haven't played it in a long time, but I came back for the Ignite servers, and then I immediately walked into this whole like the room is on fire, everyone's freaking out situation, so I wanted to share. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.